Biggest names in the Atlanta bribery investigation pleaded not guilty to more charges today. Mitzi Bickers, preacher and former City of Atlanta employee, did not show up to court today. Her lawyers entered a not guilty plea to new charges. Bickers is accused of paying for flights, hotels, entertainment, even limos for the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi and other city officials. Prosecutors say she was hoping to influence people with the power to award construction contracts. Bickers played a large role in helping former Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed get elected to office. So here is the list of people who are in jail or awaiting sentencing in the bribery investigation. 2 contractors, Katrina Parks, the deputy chief of staff for former Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed, Atlanta's former chief purchasing officer Adam Smith, and Shanderick Barnes, former City of Atlanta employee. Bickers is the only one who pleaded not guilty.